Thank you for joining us for Miss Cindy's Kitchen. And we're doing a Copycat Starbucks Lemon Loaf. And a friend of mine gave me a whole bunch of lemons. These are Meyer lemons, and they're the sweeter variety. And then we're going to be planting some citrus in our backyard. And this is a Eureka lemon off of one of the trees we got. So these are the two different varieties of lemons. We have the Eurekas, which are more of the commercially grown tart lemons. And then we have the Meyer lemons, which are a little bit sweeter. So what we're going to do first is it calls for a third of a cup of lemon juice. So we're going to do that. So we're going to use this portable juicer. If you have a lot of fruit to juice, you can use whatever juicer suits your fancy. We have a electric juicer that we use when we have a few more to use. These lemons feel extra juicy. So I'm going to look at that.
Oh, wow.
How juicy these lemons are. So going to juice the lemon. We'll see how much juice comes out. And one tip I read is that if you roll your citrus prior to cutting it and juicing it, you'll get more juice. I forgot to do that, but you know for next time. See how much juice is coming out?
There's just coming off that.
Yeah. So, this is, wow, almost a third a cup of juice for just two halves. So let me just do one more half and see what we come up with. Yeah, we're going to need another lemon, I think. Actually, we have the other half there. So let's do this one. And we're just shy of, we actually have enough already. So we'll set this one aside for now. And then I will pour off some of this juice. You just tap this off here. Put it in the sink where the disposer side is. And it's actually a third of a cup of juice. And a seed snuck in there. We don't like our juice crunchy, so we'll pull that seed out. All right. Got a small one and a medium one. So this is slightly more than a third cup. So let me just pour off a tiny bit. The oven is now at 350 degrees. That's what that little chirp was. So we have a third a cup of lemon. And I grabbed the wrong napkin for my hands and now have Crisco on my hands. Alrighty then. Okay. So, we're going to assemble the dry ingredients now. 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And half teaspoon each. Half teaspoon of baking soda, baking powder, and salt. So let me do that. There's the soda. And a baking powder. That's a little lumpy. Let me grab a strainer to strain these real quick. For some reason, because we've had such incessantly moist weather. Okay. Alright. My little tool is missing. I'm not going to look for it. If we have crunchy baking powder in our dish, we'll deal with it. So, into that. And then we have a half a teaspoon of salt. Whoops, grabbed the wrong lid for the container. This is what happens when you wait till the end of the day to do things.
But
that's usually the quietest time of day, so it's kind of the trade-off. So, we're going to mix the dry ingredients. A fork or a whisk is always a good way to mix up your dry. So you make sure everything is incorporated. So there's the flour mixture. And in here we are going to mix the wet part of the ingredients. And we're going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter.
With cut.
So 2 tablespoons of butter. And we will be posting a recipe card in the video. So make sure you like and subscribe and share this video to your friends and leave us a comment. We love your feedback. And so we have 2 tablespoons of butter, and then we need to add the sugar. So let me prop my phone up. Whoops. Avalanche! Alright. I use my phone way too much for recipes. I just inherited a bag full of cookbooks that I haven't had a chance to look at yet, but will likely feature something in a future episode. So, then we have 1 cup of sugar. And you know what? I'm going to save dishes. Use the 1/2 cup twice over. That works. All right. The last 1/2 cup was a tiny bit over, so the next one was a tiny bit under. There you go. And I forgot to set the eggs out for to come to room temperature. So I put them in a bowl of warm water because ingredients mix better when they are at room temperature. So I'm going to crack them into this measuring pitcher because you don't want to crack them directly into your recipe ingredients, because nobody likes something crunchy when it's not supposed to be. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. If I'm eating an egg breakfast or something, if there's shells in it, I can't go back and finish it. I'm like, that ruined it. All right. So that's our 3 eggs. And this also calls for a 1/2 cup of oil. And this is all part of the wet ingredients. So I'm just going to use the whisk because this butter is really soft. And then we're going to add in the eggs. I used a clear mixing bowl so you all could watch the action of the ingredients creaming together. So, just want to cream that just a little bit, and then I will add the oil and the lemon juice. Alright. Got that little bit of butter on there. Get that off. See how soft the butter is? I usually leave a package of butter sitting out because when I bake, I like to have it ready at room temperature, because hard butter is just a big disappointment when you go to spread it. It just sits there and tries to pull the bread along with it, and it's like a...
Yeah.
All right. There's a couple minuscule seeds that work their way in there, but it's okay. Be more authentic. That way you know it was from fresh squeezed lemons. Mix, 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 mix. That's those little minuscule bits there. I think that's the butter. And you know, I better put the cap back on this oil because, knowing me, I'll knock it off the counter. So, then we have, let's see here, we need a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a teaspoon of lemon extract. Whoops. I always gotta double check the ingredient list to make sure I didn't miss anything. So a teaspoon of vanilla, and we have a teaspoon of lemon. And one thing we found out last year when my daughter was making candy, she found that the off-brand lemon actually tasted better than the name brand lemon extract.
Huh.
So we're using lemon juice and lemon extract because just lemon isn't enough. We got to use 2 different forms. So I'm going to stir this up and double check here. All right, I have got all the ingredients incorporated. So now I'm going to use the spoon to add in the dry ingredients. This is a really wet batter. All right. I'm going to mix this up. And generally when you're doing muffins and quick breads, you just stir until it's well mixed. You don't want to overmix because it can make the batter come out tough when it's baked.
I do that.
Yeah. So, look at that. Doesn't that look yummy?
It does look good.
All right. So, we're going to take our loaf pan, and I have greased it with some generic Crisco. So, we're going to pour this in. All right. It smells lemony.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will have a lemon glaze. So, let me get the rest of this out of here. I've already got the short scraper next to me, so figure I'll just use that rather than a long one. It works. Saves dishes. Alright, so let me go ahead and scrape off the spoon here. And this actually called for an 8-inch loaf pan, but what I have available is 9-inch, because that's the size I use most often. But as you can see, it filled up the muffin pan quite nicely. So, muffin pan, loaf pan.
Loaf pan.
Muffins were last week. Okay.
Bread pan.
Bread pan. All right, so this is going to bake at 350 degrees for about 50 minutes. That's 50 minutes. And we will bring you back when it is done, and we can show you what it looks like before we put the glaze on it. So make sure you like and subscribe and share this video to your friends and leave us a comment. And we are closing in on 1,000 subscribers. So once we hit 1,000 subscribers, you all can give me suggestions on what video or recipe you'd like to see me prepare live. So come back shortly. All right, and we're back, and the bread cooked for 50 minutes at 350 degrees, and I've let it cool for about 30 minutes, and now we're going to make the glaze. And as we've stated before, Dahlia sees a loaf pan, and she immediately assumes she's going to get her bread tacks. But she already had her bread tacks earlier when I made banana bread. So she's full up on bread today. So, all right, and for the glaze, it's 1 cup of powdered sugar. And it calls for 2 tablespoons of full milk. I happen to have 2% on hand, so that's what we're going to use. So, got a speck of dust in here. The hazard of being in a busy kitchen and living in the desert. Okay. So that's 1. And 2. And it calls for a 1/2 teaspoon of lemon extract. So, let me just double check here, make that larger. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon of lemon extract. It's just like in carpentry, you say measure twice, cut once. You got to review your directions a time or two to make sure you've got everything that you're supposed to have. So, we're going to whisk this until it is a smooth glaze. All right. So there's two ways you can apply glaze, and one is to drizzle like with a whisk, or you can pour it on. It just depends on your preferred method. So sometimes a straight pour from a measuring pitcher is a little heavy. Sometimes it works out well. It just depends upon what you want to do.
Just dump it all on there.
Just dump it all on there? Dump it all on there. Let's see how that works. As I'm drizzling glaze all over the counter here. Oops, there's powdered sugar at the bottom. Oh well. That bite will be extra sweet. So, let's go ahead and smooth this out a wee bit. And for some reason, the loaf turned out with a little indentation in the middle. And I don't know if that's the nature of this recipe. It's the first time I made it. But I think next time I will whip the ingredients with the mixer, because sometimes that incorporates some more air and will give the bread more loft. But anyway, as you can tell, we have now got Lake Lemon in the middle of our lemon loaf. So let me go ahead and cut off a slice, and you can be the taste tester.
Oh, yay.
You're the last man standing. Oh, the others went to bed. So, normally when you're putting a glaze on something, you want to let it set up for a few hours. But we'll just try the end piece to see how the bread tastes. No, it's not for you, okay? So, wow. Let me get Let me see how that tastes. It looks very pretty. So, all right, so let's trade. Hold on a second here. All right, so you already got it set. Okay.
It's still on you. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right. The screen went dark, but it's blinking, so
Yes.
can't see you, though. Oh, okay. All right. So, what do you think?
There you go. Yeah.
A nice lemony loaf?
Yeah. Burn it up.
All right.
Chop it. Burn it up.
Well, thank you again for joining us for another episode of Miss Cindy's Kitchen. And come back again soon for another recipe.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.